AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built into. That's why it's no surprise that more than 85% of the Fortune 500 use the ServiceNow AI platform. While other platforms duct tape tools together, ServiceNow seamlessly unifies people, data, workflows, and AI, connecting every corner of your business. And with AI agents working together autonomously, anyone in any department can focus on the work that matters most. Learn how ServiceNow puts AI to work for people at servicenow.com. Hey everyone, welcome to Served. Did that screech a little bit?
That was good.
I'm trying. Sorry,
yeah,
guys.
it's end of the year.
It's December.
A little rusty.
It's a little rough.
Good thing we have a long break.
This is where the theme music kicks in.
Yeah, gosh, we can't afford that.
Good thing we have a really long break.
We're gonna do WTA top 20. What is it? Countdown. It's something.
Recap and reactions, predictions, all the good stuff. We want a little look back, a little look forward.
Great. So we're basically just going to go top 20. We'll have some honorable mentions at the end. And that's that. JW, blink twice if you're okay.
My captors have treated me well. My captors have been good to me. Let's do this.
Let's start it off at number 20. Elise Mertens, someone who, and I say this in the most respectful way possible, is like a human ATM machine. This is the 5th time she's finished in the top 20 in singles. She's been number 1 in the world in doubles. She won year-end championships in doubles. She's currently ranked 5 in doubles. She's one of those ones, maybe it's in singles, maybe it's in doubles, but she's cashing a check every week and has been for a long time. Just a really, really good and smart player.
Pro's pro. I remember, we had her at Wimbledon. Won the doubles, and I remember, her sister is a pilot for KLM, and I think her father makes furniture, and you're like, this is kind of a fascinating person. This is a veteran. This is a player who gets it done in singles and doubles. The WTA needs to put players like that front and center because they really are a tribute to the sport. Is Elise Mertens a candidate to win a major in singles? Who knows? But just one of these steady, solid cast members that we ought to acknowledge and applaud.
Yeah, I don't know that she has, it's not as if she's lining up her forehand and you're going, oh my gosh, heaven and earth is going to collide. This is going to be the biggest shot I've ever seen in my life. But then, for the next 3 points, she knows when to come in. She'll put a volley away. She'll stick 3 returns. Like, this is the type of player that junior coaches need to be watching, teaching. She's kind of a master at the basics of the game, right? She's very good, very solid, doesn't mail it in, is a good competitor, and has made a hell of a living on tour. Just a really solid citizen. This is someone who you look at, it's easy to look at Sabalenka and say, yeah, we should all be the biggest and strongest. And, that's what we should do. And it's phenomenal every time you watch, and every ball has the ability to be put away. Okay, that's not reality for most of us chuckers, right? Like, you look at Elise Mertens and you talk about maximizing every single week, singles, doubles. She does it. And our friend Kim Clijsters likes her, which means she's
probably great.
All good in my book.
I'm looking here. She Elise Mertens took up tennis because she watched Kim Clijsters.
Oh, that's cool.
There's a real kinship here. But no, that's a really good point. I mean, she's closing in on the janky. We can talk about the WTA website later, which is not worthy of these terrific athletes. But after a couple of tabs, I finally figured this out. She's closing in on $20 million. I think that's a really good point. It'd be great to have Coco's movement and Sabalenka's power, but you know what? If you're 13, 14 years old and you're trying to fashion your career, here's a player who plays week in, week out. I think she has a higher doubles ranking than she has a singles ranking. And she's going to leave the sport with a decade of really solid results and $20 million in the bank. Elise Mertens, hats off.
I'll tell you guys something. I retired and I was top, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 all time in prize money. Okay, in prize money. Guess who's going to have more prize money than me at the end of her career?
Elise Mertens.
Elise Mertens. Yeah, human ATM machine.
It's crazy.
Yep. Props to her. Well done. Next one. Listen, I missed on this one this year. Just going to tell it, going to say it, because I'll tell you when I get it right. I had Muchova sneaky, like maybe going deep, winning a major this year. And it was kind of 19. And it's just, JW, she's one of those ones where every time I watch her, I'm convinced she's going to rule the world. It's like full like Pinky in the Brain, right? Like I just feel like she's going to dominate everything. And then similar, we were having the conversation about Khachanov, right? And I think Muchova has more upside than Khachanov, but it's like every time I watch him, it's when he's made a round of 16 quarter semi at a major. And I think that's when I consume most of my Muchova matches too. And I'm like, she's unbelievable. And then there are these long stretches. I mean, she was generally healthier this year than she has been for, the last 3 or 4. And the results were good. She's 19 in the world. But I think it's a compliment to her that I'm kind of thinking, man, she looks like she's 5 or 6 in the world, not 19.
What do Muchova, Krejcikova, and Vondrousova have in common? They're all Czech. They've all played deep into majors. In 2 of those cases, they've won majors, and they also have some injury problems. And I think we just didn't quite get full health Muchova for a lot of this year. She's not yet 30. She's still so athletic, shot maker. She's so fun to watch. I get the feeling she was not 100% physically, and I think that's probably why she. I think, given expectation, had a disappointing year. She's also the other thing about these Czech players, they're really big game players. I mean, look, go back. Kvitova, Pliskova, they don't just rack up wins and do well in the rankings. They play deep into these majors. I mean, Muchova's, we have a French Open final and took a set off of Iga. We have multiple U.S. Open semis. But I think in 2025, the health wasn't 100%. I think that's probably what accounts for 19.
Vicky Mboko. One of my favorite weeks of the year was her winning in Canada. Like,
it was awesome.
It wasn't out of nowhere. She had won a million matches in the minor leagues. Like, when you see someone you're watching from the tour and you're seeing someone win 3 weeks in a row, I don't care what the designation is. If you're at a minor league professional event and you're winning 3 times and then you lose once and then you win 2 more times, which was generally her progression for the first 6 months of this year, the last 4 months of last year, you go, oh, she's coming. And then all of a sudden we get to Canada and she lights up the country in her home country. I mean, it was phenomenal. There was drama. There was it might have taken a mental toll for the rest of the year with how much he put out, but that was one of my favorite weeks of the year as far as a story being presented and then kind of excellence layered in on top as far as playing JW.
You want a crazy one? Here's a stat for you. She played 43 sets this year before she lost a set.
Is that true?
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. I don't care if we're playing a Dingles game here in Charlotte.
Exactly. Doesn't. I mean, this is, she's credited with 60 wins on the WTA website that we've referenced for its defects. She did not win 60 tour level matches, but at a lower level. And you're right. Winning is winning at some level, right? I mean, your confidence is swelling. You're feeling good about yourself. 43 sets before she dropped a set. That's pretty good. Started the year outside the top 300. And I also think what she did after Canada is really interesting. I mean, she had this magical week. She wins her home tournament, beats Naomi in that crazy final. Bit of an injury. We had her on. She was delightful. There was sort of this rush, and then she had a bit of a wrist injury. Clearly wasn't 100% at the Open. And then she recovered and got better and got back to the business of winning matches, which I think is winning Canada was the peak of her year, but the fact that she shook off this injury and got back to the business of winning, I think is relevant too. And yeah, man, what a revelation. If we do Rookie of the Year awards, she's our runaway winner, isn't she?
Yeah. And also I remember like a lot of the coverage post Canada into the US Open was like, oh, she played one big week and now we're like a little hurt. I'm like, she's played nonstop all year.
Yeah, right.
Like
right.
I mean, we covered in, I think the episode she came on before she actually came on, we covered her map of travel in the first, 7-8 months of the year. So no, this wasn't a welcome to the big show. Your body can't handle it. This was 8 months, got to the big show, delivered, and then my body gave out a little, and then she was able to kind of recover, to John's point, which I think isn't going to be the highlight of any conversation about her year, but it does tell you something
Yeah.
Right? It's like she, kind of went down, had a, rough 6 weeks health-wise, and then kind of got back. I can't think of a reason why she's not going to be a consistent presence in the top 15 and top 10 in the world on the WTA Tour. Is there something I'm missing, JW?
No, I mean, unfortunately, whenever we have this conversation, injury is kind of the one unknowable. That's the variable. But no, she's 19 years old. She wins big matches. I think she's very level-headed. We'll save this riff for another time, but I think the fact that she, not unlike a certain someone in my Zoom screen, had older siblings that sort of had some measure of tennis success, I think is relevant. There's just sort of, you stack this all up, and this is a stock to invest heavily in.
Yeah, I totally agree. And when she came on, I think back to what an idiot I am an idiot, and I was a bigger idiot when I was 18 years old. And to have her come on, I felt like I was talking to a 28-year-old.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Right, just measured poise, not overwhelmed. I mean, just as pleasant as someone could be. I was really impressed by her game, really impressed by having the chance to talk to her and how not 18 she seemed when she was just rapping with us. Like, it was phenomenal. I thought she was great. 17, Samsonova. What do you got for me, JW?
Not a ton, to be honest. Just a solid athletic player. Nice Wimbledon. If I'm correct here, not fact check, I believe she's one of 2 players born north of the Arctic Circle. How's that for a little trivia?
How do you know this stuff?
This is what we do here. That's not a hard. We'll fact check that. I believe she and Mirra Andreeva
Don't
both.
fact
But no,
check
I mean,
it. Just like
let's go.
That's I'm
exactly.
taking it. I saw it on the internet. It's true.
Yeah,
Exactly. She was involved in a bank heist as well. Joking.
That is not true.
Joking. Now we're just making that's not true. No, she's a very solid athletic player. A little bit in the Mertens mold. Just sort of a solid veteran. I'm not sure we're talking about a future major winner, but just one of these good for the cast. I think a lot of her results. I'm trying to figure out where she got those results. Wimbledon quarterfinals certainly didn't hurt. I do remember she was the player at Wimbledon who was happy to speak to the media on one condition, which is you did not tell her next opponent.
Oh, that's right.
Which I thought was interesting.
There's a lot of
no,
fun
she
nuggets.
trains. That's
All
fun.
right,
Yeah,
play,
exactly.
Let's play a game real quick, guys, off the cuff. You guys
Okay.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll call it. We'll a new segment called the Samsonova rules. You ready? Okay. So this is basically. I'll go first because I had the time to write one down. Let's think of something that maybe might be true about Samsonova.
Okay.
And then we can somehow apply these to other people too, called Samsonova rules. You ready?
Okay.
Did you know that she also holds the record for the longest walking handstand of all time? Did you hear that?
No, I did not hear that.
And she did it north of the Arctic Circle, I think.
That's a 50-50 chance because she was born up there.
That's it. So that's Samsonova rules. Mike, are you ready? Sean, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. She idolized one Maria Sharapova growing up.
That's true, for sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
I was expecting a little more creativity, but okay, Sean, do you have something?
Could be true.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know. Come on.
good stuff, Sean. JW, do you have any others?
During her junior year abroad, she came in third in the Marietta, Georgia peach pie eating contest.
Yeah. She's also won 3 spelling bees. Sean, you ready yet?
She's the only tennis player with an EGOT.
Oh,
that one's good.
that's not true, but that's good. Okay, so
That's not true.
Our first Sean's gonna get better. That's our first try at some
That
Samsonova
one
rules.
is not true.
Quarterfinals of Wimbledon, lost to Swiatek 5-2, which could seem lopsided until you saw the semis and the finals, right? So maybe the stiffest competition for Iga once she kind of got into goddess mode at Wimbledon. Number 16, a name that we know, that we are happy to see back in the mix, kind of turned back the clock and reminded us what we had been waiting for in Canada and the US Open. Naomi Osaka back in the mix, 16 in the world. Thoughts, J-Dub?
What a strange year and what a strange career. I mean, this is one of my favorite stats. She's won how many majors? 4 majors, right? And it was sandwiched into a period of, I don't know, 27 months, right? I mean, it was in that sort of 2-year plus window. She's won 7 titles for her career. And there's an Indian Wells in there too. So She's won 7 titles. More than half of them have been majors, and one of the other 3 was Indian Wells. Did not, she won a 125. So again, just indulge me on this rant on the website. We love the WTA. We love women's tennis. This website is not worthy of the athletes. So Mboko wins 60 matches because we're counting everything, but Naomi Osaka wins a 125 title, but it counts as 0 titles. I'm just...
Yeah, so what JW is basically saying, just to level set, like your tour record, at least in my entire career, didn't count challenger wins, which means it'd be like getting Major League Baseball credit for homers that you hit in the minor leagues.
Yeah. Like if you're going up and down.
Which is absurd. Like you get called up. It's like, oh, he has 27 home runs. No, you have 0 when you get called up to the major leagues. But then also to JW's point, so they count the match wins, but then don't count the title that she won in the minor leagues. So it's just very confusing. So you'll look at someone like I'll get this wrong, but we just finished Samsonova, who's 17 in the world, and they'll show her because she basically only played tour events, didn't play any minors. There was no, big ebb and flow with ranking. So they have her she'll be somewhere around 30 wins, if I'm right, like somewhere around there. Then you have Mboko who's showing 60. It's just confusing to someone that's trying to consume the game and like actually understand it.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead. As you were,
me.
JW.
I don't know what to make. I mean, Naomi Osaka, she's whatever the kids say. I mean, she's done the deal. I mean, she's won 4 majors. She's won as many majors as Sabalenka.
That's crazy.
But the results just haven't quite. And on the plus side, she made a coaching change that seemed to help matters. She did really well in Canada. Probably should have won that event. She did well at the Open. Got to the semis, beat Coco. But she still is looking for that sort of next step. So I think a lot of positive takeaways. But Naomi Osaka now in her late 20s, and I think we're all sort of wondering, is it going to get better than this?
I'll tell you, like, this conversation looks way different without Canada and the U.S. Open.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that. Like, she was, I mean, going into this, the other stat that I loved is, so the U.S. Open semi was the first time she had ever lost in a major if she had made it past the round of 16.
That's a crazy stat.
Wow.
So she had made it past the round of 16 4 times and won 4 majors. So she had like she'd won 4 majors and made 4 major quarterfinals before this U.S. Open. First time she'd ever, so she steps up when she gets there, but also it's for someone who's won 4 majors, you normally see the counting stats as like 20 titles, X amount of times in the top 10. I hope we get back to that, but I mean, she gave us a very, very, very big reminder of why she demands attention. Right, she played great in Canada. She played great at the U.S. Open. There was no one going into the semis that was like, Osaka can't win this tournament. Not a single human on the grounds of the U.S. Open. So it is in there. It'll be interesting to see how she starts next year. I do think she needs a great start to kind of enter into that conversation of, am I top 5? Am I top 8 again? I will say that I think she's going to have to make her gains on hard. Right, she moves better than I think she did, but this not going to win a decathlon, right? I think she needs to be in the center of the court, taking massive cuts, taking the racket out of the opponent's hands. I think her serve is largely underrated still. Like, I think she has an absolute bomb of a serve. So if those serving percentages can stay up and she can kind of get on that front foot and find the momentum, there's just no way, John, if she's being inconsistent from the baseline, where does the plan B happen? Where does she win a match 6-4 in the third that doesn't look great, right? It's not on defense, right? So it's kind of, high risk, high reward type situation, which can lead to some inconsistency.
Yeah, I mean, she needs to play front foot, first strike tennis. And when she does, she's as good as anyone in the world. And when she's pushed back, or also, I mean, they're also, we saw that third set of the final in Canada, when her confidence goes, she's a completely different player, and she doesn't, for better or worse, she doesn't disguise it. So she's intriguing. Glad to have her back. I think the question is just, is that next level still there? Yeah,
she's cost me, I got to be honest, with that backpack at the U.S. Open. She's cost me about $1,000 in Labubus. With my daughter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you in Labubu Nation right now?
Bro, we have a Labubu Christmas tree. No joke. We have like 8 Labubus hanging in some random fake plant in our house.
It's like, there's a 1,000% chance the word Labubu is said when I go, "Hey, Stevie, how was school?"
She just responds, Labubu.
I mean, Naomi Osaka had a larger impact on our family this year than she will ever realize.
Yeah.
Just nuts.
Well, on that note, let's take a break.
Fine. All right, everyone, welcome back to Served. We are at number 15.
Yeah.
Emma Navarro.
I think we should take a look at these players, 15 through, say, 11, which is Navarro, Svitolina, Noskova, Tauson, and Bencic. And my question to you guys is, of these 5 players, who has the best chance of being in the top 10 by the end of next year?
I see what we're doing. I'm going to take Bencic out.
Oh, that's good.
Because
right.
I think we have to have a bigger conversation about what she actually did this year.
Yeah.
Which I've said before, but it's just insane. So quickly, Emma Navarro, finished last year, what was it, 7 or 8 in the world? Made a couple of semis in slams. So not the year that she had the year before. I think second time through the lineup is a big thing. I think expectation matters, right? When she walks into a tournament, it's like, oh, you're the favorite, or you're definitely going to make semis. That takes some getting used to. That's a different jacket than she was wearing as the disruptor the year before. But game-wise, I think she's going to be fine. She's a really smart tennis player. Actually got better at injecting pace into the ball this year. So I think she'll be fine. Svitolina, win-loss, by the way. Like, you see a lot of, like, barely above 500s making, like, top 30. I think she was 37 and 15 this year, and is just there every week. Maybe playing a little bit more of a pared-down schedule than most, which is understandable. But never really punches herself out of anything. Like, hyper intelligent player, completely self-aware, dangerous on faster services. I think she needs those faster services, or prefers them at least at this point in her career. Noskova, 21 in the world, had beaten Iga in a big match. Did some work post US Open, finals of Tokyo, finals of China. I'd say that's where kind of the bulk of her points came. And Tauson is like crazy to watch. It's like she'll go from like just inflicting violence on the ball, and then you remember how Cedric Pioline used to walk in between points, JW?
Yeah.
Whereas like it could be 1-0 in the first set, and in between points he's just like acted exhausted. Like, Tauson is not in a hurry between points, and then she steps up the line and just beats people. Can create a lot of power off of both sides. So JW, I will project Mike's question onto you. Navarro, Svitolina, Noskova, Tauson. Which one of these is the most likely to be in the top 10 next year?
This is momentum investing. I guess when you say Noskova, just on, I think Svitolina is a fascinating, we can save this for another time, but her country is ravaged by, I will call it invasion and not war. She's married to another player who's retiring, and yes, she's a mother, and she's still winning 35, 40 matches. All credit to her. Discussion for another time as well is this whole sophomore slump. Do we think it's the opponent now knows Emma Navarro's game and she's going from hunted to hunter, or do we think some of this is just, it's exhausting? You need to pace yourself. The first year is fun. Yeah, exactly.
Where are we choosing?
She is hardly the first player to sort of not completely fall apart, but have a sophomore season that doesn't measure up to the freshman season. I think that's sort of an interesting discussion for another time. Noskova, another Czech player. They keep coming. Resistance is futile. I mean, again, just reminder, this country has like 10 million people. That's like, Ohio.
And it's not warm for training, I'll tell you that much too.
Yeah, exactly.
That ain't Bradenton.
Yeah, good point too. Not exactly a climate conducive to minting tennis star after tennis star. I guess I'll go Noskova just because she's young and getting a lot of winning under her belt. And Tauson, Tauson beat she beat Rybakina at Wimbledon. I mean, she's had some really nice wins. And is she going to win the WTA 100-meter dash race? Probably not. But her movement's gotten better, and she hits a big ball. And she's also a young player on the rise. But I'll to your question, Noskova is my answer.
Tauson was on the wrong side of one of the best early round matches, which I feel are kind of lacking this year against Yala. And
at the Open.
At the Open. That was fun.
Yeah.
That was a really fun match to watch. Kind of, I think there was a vacancy of like, normally you look back and it's like, oh, these 7 matches were like barn burners in the first 3 days of a major. I think that was lacking a little bit. If I have one complaint about 2025, but I'll go Noskova too. Strong body, is not scared to go against the top players. So with a young player, you kind of think that they're going to find that consistency. Also momentum, finishing the year strong. Maybe sometimes that leads to starting the year strong. I think I'd like that also. Belinda Bencic at 11 it has to be one of the stories of the year.
Yeah.
913, a year ago or a year and a couple months ago, semis of Wimbledon, coming back from, becoming a mother and you tell me she's 11 and not like, oh, she's going to come back and have some good results and be 30 and 40. That would have been worthy of effusive praise. 11, almost the top 10 JW. Are you as impressed with this story this year as I am?
I am, and I think that we talk about it and probably don't talk about it enough. Returning in any workplace on a maternity leave is an adjustment. Doing so in a physical profession. Wimbledon semifinalist, zero drama. There was do you remember that she had a little beef, and it was sort of, well, I'm sure they're fine. I don't want to dramatize it, but she had a little beef with Coco. And her response was basically like, I'm too old for this shit. And it's kind of a perfect, this is an adult, this is a mother, this is someone who's been doing this for a long, she beat Venus as a teenager at a major. Like, this is someone who's been doing this for 12 years or so now, and just one of these pros, and to come back from the ranking she had, even with protected ranking, even with automatic ins, it's still really impressive to get back to this level. And Final Four at Wimbledon, where she was a junior champion like 12 years ago. Really impressive.
Well, Mike, you brought up when we were talking about Muchova this show, luck of the draw.
Mm-hmm.
When it's harder to go through a draw is when you're not seated in your 913 actualized ranking, and they're just letting you into the event.
Yeah, sharing a bet with a 1-year-old.
Belinda's not helping that argument for you, right? Like it's she just kind of went through whatever draw was in front of her. Alexandrova at 10 has been a really good player for a long time. This win-loss record, 47-25, and she's not playing challengers.
Whoa.
A win in Linz. Just consistent every single week, and I'm happy that she made the top 10. You're talking about someone not winning the 100-meter dash. Alexandrova is a really good athlete. She might win that race. Like, flat off both sides, is always there. I was looking through results before I went on, and it's like, okay, well, how'd she do? I'm like, well, she had a lot of deep runs and then just lost to Iga.
It's pretty good.
I think this is a well-deserved top 10. I don't know that there was a final or a semi of a major on the books, but a lot of quarterfinals, semifinals, like doing work every week.
She got into the top 10 for the first time north of age 30. That's grounds for applause in itself. But no, it's sort of the Mertens model that we've talked about. Just week in, week out, she's getting it done. And, not everyone's a major winner and a major contender. The cast is really enriched for players who just come to work and are solid professionals. And I think that's the case here.
Mirra Andreeva at number 9. Now, in April, when she's 5, I think we're all going, oh, she's going to make a run to like 2-3 here. I think obviously played great in the Middle East, played great and wins at Indian Wells, beats Sabalenka. I think we're going, okay, the doors are coming off. Because like the eye test work too. Serves bigger than I think people give her credit for. Moves amazingly well. Has some variety. But I don't think when she was 5 that we thought she was going to have a 9 next to her name. And that has more to do with the fact that we think she looks like a future major winner potentially. But I thought this was the year where it was like, oh, I'm going to be, top 4 in the world for the next 10 years now.
Yeah, I think this was a case of getting dinged up. I don't think there's a crisis here, but this was a tale of a first half of the year and a second half of the year. Would she win Indian Wells again? I wish that, I don't want to harp on the WTA website, but she did what Maddie did, right? Did she not beat Iga and Sabalenka in succession to win Indian Wells? one of my favorite, just sidebar, one of my favorite moments of the year. Do you remember the arts and crafts project she made for Conchita Martinez?
Yes.
At Wimbledon when Conchita played in the Legends? Oh, it's fantastic. It was a real glimpse into just this relationship, a healthy relationship with a player and her coach, but also just we forget these are teenagers. So Conchita Martinez plays the Legends event at Wimbledon, and Andreeva's sitting there with a homemade. Isn't that awesome?
I'm showing Andy right now a sign that she has. She's wearing like a goofy hat, and it says, "Let's go, Senorita Topspin."
That's
Senorita Topspin.
You are golden.
Exactly.
It's just like she's just in the stands like a normal teenage fan.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Props to Conchita Martinez also, by the way. Like, we talk about all these super coaches. Wins Wimbledon in 1994 on what was probably her least favorite service, beating one. Is Martina Navratilova any good on grass?
Pretty good.
On grass, pretty good player, right? Lefty.
Steps in, is like, okay, I'll coach Muguruza a little bit, a couple Grand Slams, and guiding Andreeva. Props to Conchita Martinez as well. That sign is hilarious.
Yeah.
And Andreeva, it's like I find myself really wanting her to do well because of these moments. Like, if she's number one in the world and doing this shit, this is a dream for marketing for the WTA Tour. Like, always has a big personality, always has something to say. Does not subscribe to the, okay, let's just, you remember the movie Hitch when Will Smith was trying to teach Kevin James how to dance?
Yeah.
He's like, 12 and 2. This is where you live.
12
and 2. No arms, 12 and 2. She does not subscribe to that when she is doing press and PR. I think she's a shining light in the game. And also, like, if she doesn't play well in the Middle East and she doesn't play well in Indian Wells, we're looking at like her being 20 in the world, right? This is going to be her first kind of real life test of having to defend points, right? And we say like all rankings aren't equal. We've talked about some people that have, FAA has 6 months of runway where he didn't win hardly any matches, right? So his number 5 in the world going into next year is different than Andreeva's number 9, where it's all kind of front loaded. So she's gonna have to play well from the word go next year, JW.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the beauties of tennis, but one of the frustrations too, which is these points don't come equally spaced out. So, when Andreeva goes to Indian Wells, there will be an element of pressure there. But I think just sort of big picture, you look at her game. You mentioned her serve, which I think is one of the more underrated shots in women's tennis. She's 18 years old. Like,
it's only getting better.
Yeah, it's only getting better. Exactly.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite players on earth to watch. Like, I find myself, if I'm clicking through the channels and just come across one of her matches, you have that. Do you ever have that movie that, like, whenever it's on, you watch it till the end?
Yeah.
Like Shawshank Redemption. A sneaky one is League of Their Own is one of the greatest movies.
I was going to say Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt.
What? All right. Well, jeez. You want to lay down a bed of nails while driving down the street? Jeez. Okay. Anyways, so producer Mike's terrible answer notwithstanding, do you really watch Joe Dirt every time?
No.
Oh,
yes. David Spade.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I didn't know. Jeez.
American icon.
Don't tell Eddie Murphy that.
We're sidetracked.
Sorry.
But do you know who's like that equivalent to me of a tennis player is Jasmine Paolini?
Yeah.
Like, if I come across
the old Joe Dirt, Jasmine Paolini segue.
The old, how are people still listening to ours? Like, we've enjoyed this run of like the last 2 years because we know it's coming to an end. Yeah.
It's the end of the year.
It's over.
It's the end of the year. Start fresh next week.
I watch her. I don't care if it's doubles. I don't care if it's. I have so much time to watch Jasmine Paolini because it's like she's happy, she's pissed, she's figuring out a way to win. She's like this tiny package of I don't know. I'm happy that she has become a consistently top 10 player. I don't know that, before 2 years ago, I would have spent that amount of time getting to know her game, ins and outs, who she can beat. She's just joy. Like, I just love watching her play. I never change the channel when she's on, ever.
It's funny. She made that run at Roland Garros, and it was sort of like, oh, we've got this fluky winner, this Italian journeyman, and has a magical and then you know what? She made the final at Wimbledon. And I think that sort of writ small is what's happened here to her career. I think everybody sort of said, oh boy, what's her ranking going to be in 2025? And whatever the cliche is, the stagecoach turns into a pumpkin. And you know what? She's still getting it done. She's still winning a lot of matches, and she's doing it in singles and doubles. She's fun to watch. She's a good athlete. She's a really fun shot maker. She's just an absolute joy.
Do we think there's any coincidence with partnering up with Irani and then all of a sudden becoming like a very intelligent tennis player, like actually playing week in and week out? I think Irani is one of the smartest tennis minds on earth. I think she's a genius. I mean, if you got to watch her during the U.S. Open mix, just chopping the best players in the world, just with positioning and shot selection and everything else. I mean, she is incredibly fun to watch. There is, I'd imagine, only good things can come from that partnership for Paolini, even when she's solo on the court and not standing next to Irani. Is that a leap, JW?
Yeah, and I think, sometimes we have these coach-player pairings, and you say, like, Brad Gilbert's, what's Brad Gilbert teaching Andy Roddick? They play totally differently. What's Juan Carlos Ferrero know about, this level of Alcaraz? Sarah Irani's sort of a talent maximizer, someone who is undersized physically, but has figured out how to work with positioning and spins and hands at the net. It's a good sort of, if you're looking for a comp, and, there's probably close to 10 years of age difference. But I think Sarah Irani has a lot of wisdom she can pass off to a similarly undersized but talented player.
The way that like a tennis player's mind works is not always rational. Like Maddie Keys wins in Australia, and to everyone else, it's like, oh, for the rest of her life, it's going to be this, like, it doesn't work that way. Like Maddie, the probably my favorite 3 days of the entire year were Maddie coming through and winning a slam, but also beating Iga and Sabalenka. Those were probably the two best matches of the year as well. And it was back to back, like 2025 shot out of a cannon because of Maddie Keys. Now, after she wins Australia, she's saying, I'm going to be ranked 7 or I'm going to be ranked 3. I say, who cares? But I don't think that's the way that she views it. Right. I think if you were to ask her, it's like, oh, I could have played better in the second half. I was with, I got smoked in Dingles by Bjorn Fratangelo, who's husband/coach. And we're just rapping about tennis. And he sends me like the 6 month splits on her serve and pace and second serve percentage points won. Like they're not just satisfied, is what I'm saying with her winning this one. It's not just free and clear and easy, even though outside looking in, that's the way the rest of us want her to feel, but it just doesn't work that way. But I thought that those were the best 3 days in women's tennis this year. Obviously, I have a bias because I'm a huge fan of Maddie and Bjorn personally, but also I think it was the highest level of tennis, the most dramatic, the most at stake. Can she get over this kind of hump and this mental block, and then how open she was afterwards, and be like, no, this didn't just happen. This took a lot of mental work. Like this took a lot of therapy for me to get to this point. So I was happy to see the payoff in a very human story, JW.
Kindness wins. I think that's a good point too. It wasn't just the result, and unfortunately it happened in the US at 3 a.m, but go back and watch the latter 10% of those matches. And it's like we were talking about the other day with the men's Roland Garros final, the quality of tennis that she brought to the biggest 10-minute interval of her career is something that will really define her. I mean, tell me if I don't think she won a match after Cincinnati. I mean, her second half of the year was just a non-entity, and she still finished in the top 10. I don't know if Bjorn sort of talked about her health. That's always kind of been something that's bugged her career, but she clearly physically didn't have it. And I think she won her last match of the season in August, right?
Yeah,
yes.
I do.
You're right.
I do think when you have these kind of like life moments where you're defining the last 12 years of work in 3 days, I do think that it has a tail. Now, the people that are consistently 1, 2, 3 in the world and never leave, I don't think it is I don't think it's a criticism of Maddie to say that like that's what separates the Federers, the Nadals, the Novaks, the Sabalenkas, the Swiateks, who are just like these crazy humans who can like reset and dive back. And Coco is unbelievable at this. Like takes all the criticism, takes all, but it's not easy. Like, imagine your career being, and your entire tennis life from the time you're 6 years old being defined on if you get through these 3 days. In their 3-hour knockdown, drag-out matches. Yeah, I'm not shocked there's a tail to that, right? Like, I'm not sure that there's mental scar tissue as well. And I know right now she's like, I could have finished the year better. And also, I promise you, in 5 years, you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I would have taken that for the next 2 years of losses.
Where do I sign?
It's hard to be rational in a real-time sport that's extremely emotional. It was everything that I wanted for Maddie and Bjorn and Max and her entire team. It was just, my favorite run of the year for many, many, many reasons. So congrats to Maddie. Massive, massive, massive win down there. Hopefully more to come in 2026. And if not, fuck it. You did it.
Yeah.
You did it. I know it doesn't feel that way all the time, but you did it. Amazing. You know how good you have to be consistently to be 6th in the world and go, oh, that was a regression.
And win 53 matches.
And win 53 matches.
Yeah.
Jess Pegula is just a stud at tennis. Every week. Her ball flight, I hit with her coming up on 2 years ago now when she missed Australia, and her ball comes in so like deep and flat, and it just eats up the baseline. And it doesn't, like, that bird's eye view doesn't do it any favors. You don't get the sense of how heavy she hits the ball. Like, and I don't think people talk about it enough. Like, this flat depth that kind of just floats through the court and then just eats up the baseline. Just tough. She's just really good. Like, she's just good all the time. Is she going to be defined by having to defend second serve points against Sabalenka and Swiatek? Yes. And also, when it gets neutral, she's as good as anyone in the world, in my opinion.
We went back and looked at some of her results from the first 5 years of her career. She's such a steady presence. She's such a regular. She's winning titles. She's winning 50+ matches as a matter of ritual. Go back and look at the first 5 years of her career, and her trajectory ought to be an inspiration for so many players. And now she's more, who's number 6? I was just thinking this. It's not a perfect comparison, but the number 6 player on the men's side is Taylor Fritz, and there's some real similarities. It just pros, win lots of matches, do what they need to do, every incremental advantage. They become this sort of, like we're talking about, Taylor Fritz has become this sort of rational, moral voice of the tour, and that's kind of become Jess's role. And is a major there for the taking? Maybe, but what a career turnaround, and what a consummate pro.
Yeah, she's a stud, and she's just cool. She's just cool. Like, she has this unbelievable ability with, like, you look at her life and what you think she should act like, and she's just a person. Like, she's the best.
Good hang.
She's good hang. She's just ripping beers after she loses and taking pictures. Like,
yeah,
she's just fun, right? Even when she's a little salty, it's fun.
Yeah.
Like, she's clever. Like, I don't know. I got a lot of time for Jess Pegula. I think she's awesome. Elena Rybakina is like, she presents as someone who was like a number 1 draft pick in the NBA. You know how just feels different?
Say more.
Right? Well, it's like, there are good draft picks who are, all-stars, and there are people who are like drafted number 1. Like, you feel like a Wemby, and I'm not saying like she's going to have the career of these people, but they just look and feel different with what they're bringing. She's 6'2", her serve is huge. The problems that we talk about are rarely ever about her game, right? Like, she lost, and it doesn't, maybe she was banged up, maybe it was off the court, maybe it was, but she just, am I explaining this well? She feels like a number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, okay, out of this draft class, Rybakina's being drafted 1. Who's the rest?
Yeah, who's the rest?
That's what it feels like.
This is the no-brainer.
Yeah, like you look at Sabalenka, you look at Swiatek, you look at Gauff. Rybakina is that person, in my opinion. Finished the year strong, seems settled. Like, I think she can win a major next year. No doubt.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And I'm just starting in Australia, where she came within a few games of having won that title already. Obviously, what she did at the end of the year in Riyadh was the capstone. But yeah, I mean, she's strenuously opaque, right? She gives you nothing. She gives you nothing when she plays. She gives you very little when she wins. I think that's probably her personality, but also by design. And what's easy to fall asleep on is this is a player who's already won a major, who's only 26 years old. We've talked about some of the off-court disruption. Happily, that seems to have settled down. I think she won more money this year than Coco, just based on largely on what she did in Riyadh. And yeah, I mean, you talk about the last 90 days of her season, and you say this is a player who is not done winning majors.
She's in that upper tier as far as ability, pretty easily. I think I couldn't think more of her game. So we'll see what 2026 brings. But you know, she has a 5 next to her name, barring missing like months and months and months. And I feel like that's the caveat we do with everything. She's gonna be higher than that. And someone else who we would have said that about probably going into this year. You were just with Amanda Anisimova. We've spent a lot of time talking about Amanda the last couple episodes, and rightfully so. But just where she's come from, lost in qualies at Wimbledon in 2024 to finals, Wimbledon, finals, U.S. Open, 4 in the world. And when she says, "I'm not satisfied and I want to win a major," you go, "Yeah, you can.
Okay.
You can.
Should.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
You have the firepower to do that." But just a couple of thoughts on Anisimova, J-Dub.
I'll give you one that we talked about a little when we spent some time together about a week ago, and she loses that Wimbledon final, right? Gets to the final, first major final, great story, and then she loses by the most humiliating, ignominious scoreline you can have in this sport. There's nothing she can do about that result, except there is. You're not going to change the scoreline. You're not going to go back in the records and see that you won a game. But you know what you can do? You can get back on your horse. You can beat the same player that beat you at the very next major. You can get back to a major final. And you know what we're not talking about? A love and love Wimbledon final. And she is one of these kind of, she's a realist. She knows there's no sugarcoating a love and love defeat in the major final. But she basically said, what do I have to do to make this go away? Well, here's one thing that can chip away at it. Go out, beat the player in a rematch, and get back to the last match of a major. So I just think there's so much here. There's so much game. Those ground strokes, we talked about Lindsay, we talked about who hits a cleaner ball. I mean, those ground strokes she hits are as good as anyone's. 24 years old. Something we talked about is, we talk a lot about the little sort of sabbatical and the time she took off. She'll get that time back. She said it's the best decision I've ever made because she gave herself a physical rest, she gave herself a mental rest, and she'll get that 6-month block of time on the back end of her career. So she's 24, but she's really not. She's really younger. There's just so much to like here. This was one of the she did not win a major, unlike 4 other players, but this was one of the real stories of the year for the WTA.
Yeah, and her saying, your point about her getting that time back, people are going to go, well, 24 is 24. No, the difference is when you're heading mentally towards a burnout, you hope it's not a blow up, right? You hope it's not like, I can't actually put the pieces back together. So she's basically ensured, okay, I'm going to have a career that is of some amount of time versus I'm risking my career blowing up and it being, too broken to fix, right? For many reasons, and some off court, some on court, this crazy mixture of life meeting what you have to do. I think that's what we're kind of saying. And I fully agree with you, JW. I think that's a great point. The other thing is, I think it's dumb that tennis players always have to, we don't interview the losing Super Bowl team seconds after they lose. And someone go, they have to talk in press. That's what I always get.
I hate it.
I had someone mansplain a press conference to me on a text.
I hate it.
After I made the point that I'm like, are you fucking kidding? Really? Please tell me more about sports. So I don't think people should have to talk, or it's cruel, or it's hard, or it's it doesn't exist in any other sport where you have to just talk about it immediately afterwards and come up with your own speech.
It also doesn't feel authentic, to be honest with you, because they're just saying BS, right? And they're
but just to be clear, you're talking about the on-court interview.
I'm talking about the on-court interview, right? Not the press conference. But everyone should
holding
have to do press.
Holding the dish, tears in the eyes, trying to be
there's no script. There's no teleprompter.
They're so wonderful. You are so great.
So
Thanks
there's
for
two
beating
things.
me.
Well, one time I've been in those where it's my only goal was to get through without having a breakdown.
Yeah.
Like without losing it, because you can't put the toothpaste back in once the tears start going. Like it's a really hard thing to do. So 2 things. I don't like that people have to do it. And also you can win a lot of fans by doing it the right way, which is what I think Amanda did this year.
Yeah.
Right. I think if you take that
Oh, that's a
moment,
good
which is
point.
inherently dumb and unnecessary, and then actually outperform expectation and what any rational person would be able to come up with and do, I think you can get a lot of credit for that. So I think she actually, made lemonade in the post-match of that and showed a real maturity. It wasn't as if all gratitude was out the door because it was a weirdly uncomfortable result and scoreline. So it sucks, and I think when you do outperform a shitty situation, you get a lot of credit, and well-deserved for Amanda Anisimova, not just for that moment, but for the year. So what we're going to do with Coco right now at number 3 is, and I think this is what we're going to start doing when we cover her moving forward, because I think it's only fair. We're not going to start from a negative place.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about how she's able to settle in, how she is able to apply her game to create errors, to create stress for her opponent, to rely on her legs. One of the biggest, hardest backhands in the world that people don't talk about enough is able to, work the forehand to drive traffic. She sets up her defense with patterns, right? It's not an accident, right? To go through things that are physically and mentally not working, and to get through it and win consistently in that is a superpower. Like over and over again, like there's no world where anyone else on earth can be dealing with 20 or 25 or whatever it is double faults. And we're looking up, and at scale, not for a tournament, not for like one tournament, at scale every year, 2 in the world, 3 in the world. She doesn't leave those positions. It doesn't matter how much we see her struggle. It is like, we have to give credit where credit's due for Coco at some point. If the losses are ugly, I don't care. She is the best in the world at being uncomfortable on a given day and getting a W. Simply.
It's going to be a really long windup. But did you guys see Jay Kelly, that I would say B- Clooney film on Netflix? There's a scene in there in which Adam Sandler is talking to his tennis playing daughter and saying, like, don't you think Coco calls her dad? Don't you think Coco has days like this? And I want to say, whoever wrote that script, Noah Baumbach, you picked the wrong player, because Coco also is completely autonomous. And I think this is my point. I think a lot of players would say, you know what, there are these flaws in my game. It is what it is. I'll fight through. The fact that she, in the middle of her season, a season in which she won almost 50 matches and won a major,
by the way,
making these changes.
Another major.
Yeah, right. A second major. Exactly. The fact that in the middle of her season, she would be addressing these defects head on, I think sends such a message to the rest of the field. It tells you that she's aware of the issues, and she's not going to just say, you know what, it is what it is, and I'll win on my defense and my fighting. I find her so admirable, and I think it's easy to get caught up on the double fault tally. The other tally, as you say, how about another year in the top 3, winning $8+ million, almost 50 matches in a major? I like where you're going with this.
Yeah.
How about a discussion of Coco that focuses on what she's achieved and not what's lacking?
But also think about this. I still believe, I'm a broken record, I think she'll be a dominant server at some point in her career. I really, really, really do. Now imagine when that starts going right.
Yeah. She starts controlling.
She's 3 in the world, winning majors with like a daily, weekly struggle, that's exposed. Like you can't hide from it. It's something you have to do every point, right? Like obviously on service games, but like she's just a winner. Like simply, and it gets overused and oversimplified. But she is just a winner.
Yeah.
Like at scale, people will beat her. She takes some losses, and then you look at the end of the year, and they're 18 and she's 3.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Every year.
I mean, she put together like spring into summer. She she got to the finals in Spain, beating Bencic, Andreeva, Iga on the way to losing. She beat
Iga 1-1.
Yeah, 1-1
clay.
Right.
On clay.
On clay.
Rome, she gets to the final again, beating Andreeva, Queen Wen, and then losing to Paolini, and then she goes on to win Roland Garros. Like that's 3 straight. She's just crushing it on clay.
She's a great. I think clay is her best surface, by the way.
Yeah.
like, there's another thing. Like we talk about Americans and red clay, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just be dominant on that.
Would you have said that before this year?
She made the final of Roland Garros.
Yeah.
I don't know that I wouldn't have said it. I think it's maybe proven a little bit more, but I don't think that was a crazy take. I wouldn't have argued real hard against anyone who had that opinion, for sure. But she's just a winner. Like, and I don't want it. It's also funny when you get to a certain level of fame, which obviously she's, she's known everywhere. No one doesn't know who Coco is. No. Like, I'd say she's Starbucks famous. Like she'll walk in to get a coffee and 12 people will know that's Coco.
Yeah, she's the face of Mercedes, right?
Whereas someone 8-9 in the world, walks in and no one is like Starbucks famous is a different thing. Right. And so what else comes with that is we need something to talk about, and it's ratings with Coco, and it's irrelevant. Her matches are getting analyzed on First Take and no one else's are. Right? Mm-hmm. So they define, she loses big matches. Like, well, a big match for her, you can when she loses, it's a third or fourth round, and when she wins, it has to be a final. Yeah. So all of these miniature discussions around her get skewed, through no fault of her own. Like, what is she doing? She's taking advantage of life. Right. And it never once gets in the way of getting in her work. Her reputation for working in professionalism is pristine. But she's so famous that all the criticisms become outsized at all times through no fault of her own. Is that a leap, JW?
Yeah, she's the highest. She's the highest earning female athlete in the world, is she not?
Yeah, because she's a fucking adult all the time.
Exactly right. Who's being referenced in George Clooney movies and who's making 4x off court as she is on court. That's all there for a reason. I think. By the way, just a quick digression. I don't know if you're following these WNBA. I keep thinking there's 65 players in women's tennis that are going to make a 7-figure income. Why don't women tennis get enough credit for the economic gains that have been made? I mean, you're hearing all these stories about the WNBA and these starting salary of King Clark made $78,000 as a rookie. $78,000 is first round prize money at the U.S. Open. I think sometimes we don't realize women's tennis.
Why isn't the WNBA using that as a metric?
Yeah, exactly. No, women's Coco Gauff is doing very well for herself, and there's a reason why brands are tripping over themselves to align with her. And I would say we should acknowledge women's tennis is really driving the bus in this women's sports boom, and I'm not sure that's a story that gets told enough.
Can we also say she's 21 years old?
She's 21 years old.
And just 21.
Yeah. And let's also level set here and make this very real. I don't want to talk about I'm in the Hall of Fame. And I wish my third best year ever on tour was her worst year. Just very, very simply, right? We need to level set the conversation with Coco sometimes and lead with what she does at an elite level, which is many, many things. One of the weirdest things that happened this year, in that Legend's ability to reset the deck out of nowhere is something that, normies don't really understand. I couldn't just out of nowhere have a result that's career defining. Iga Swiatek did that. Struggle at the end of last year, obviously with suspension for, she got thrown under the bus, in my opinion, completely thrown under the bus, and not, for something that, you could go buy at Target right now and that everyone uses for sleep all the time. I personally believe through no fault of her own. Please go back if you have to watch one episode this year on Served, a long form interview. Well, I don't want to say it, but it was probably my favorite episode to do this year, and that includes Rafa. Andre's fun for a different reason because he's my idol, but I feel before Iga, after Iga, it's oh my gosh, there's such a human in there. There is such to make things, and her describe the day she found out about the positive test and stuff, to make those stories human. I think it changes. It's important. The narrative a little bit. And that was one of my most fun ones. Cause I came out of this, I normally go in, Andre he's the best interview ever. And I also knew that he was going to be the best interview ever, right? Going into the Maria episode, I go, in the first few minutes, she's going to start taking haymakers at me. And it's great. And it's great theater. Iga, I didn't know what was going to happen. And getting off, you call him like that was a 12 out of 10 because she was open and honest and felt comfortable and could explain. And also, like when you've made your career on mostly on one surface, that doesn't go right, and you come and win a major in dominant fashion, 0-0 in a major final and 2-0 in a semi, like on a surface that you don't like. That's what legends do. That's what legends do, JW.
Going back to that interview, give yourself some credit. She's done a lot of press conferences, and you don't get much. You, for whatever reason, and whether it was game respects game or you phrased the questions in a way she felt comfortable, you pulled that out of her. It's a great interview. I wholeheartedly agree. Go back and listen to that. I think people are lost in this story. She came to Wimbledon. She's been thwarted at Roland Garros, which is what she used to own. And there are murmurs and what's going on. She could even fall out of the top 10. I mean, this is not as though she came in with skipping into town and then going and winning another major on a different surface. That came out of nowhere. And I don't know if we talked about this, or it just seemed like midway through the tournament, she just got locked in and said, you know what? This surface that has bedeviled me for my entire pro career. I think she did win the juniors at Wimbledon, but this surface that has bedeviled me, I've got it. I've cracked this code. And those last two rounds were an absolute joke. And it's what you were talking about Coco as well, right? There were some disappointing results. Obviously, Roland Garros wasn't what we were used to.
She was terrible. She only made the semis.
Yeah, but she'll look back at this year and say, you know what? Where do I sign? Great year, great result.
You think she's one of the favorites to win Australia?
She's always one of the favorites.
Yeah.
She played great in Australia this year, by the way.
She reached the semis.
She played great, and she had she played great in Australia this year. It's not as if she started the year badly. I mean, she played great. She was dropping like 1s and 2s on people the entire draw before she played Maddie. And Maddie just is one of the few people on earth who can take the racket out of your hand with serve and forehand. But she played great. Yeah. So yeah,
she's going for the career major.
And
too.
I'll take it one further, Mike. Is she one of the favorites? Insert any tournament.
Any tournament, period.
Now, especially with Wimbledon, the fact all of a sudden we've found how to play on fast surfaces. So yeah, for the next 5 years, insert her name and then say any tournament you want to talk about. And my answer is probably going to be yes. That's how good Iga Swiatek is. Simply. Let's recognize greatness while it's in front of us. Sabalenka, you talked about her the other day. JW, give some context to her year and kind of what she was up against going into the US Open.
She was the wire-to-wire number one, and she had, I mean, it's silly talk. And you look at her results, though, and she's always there. It's funny because we used to always say that there's no plan B, and it's Sahara or Arctic. You never know what you're going to get. You know what you get now? You get a player who reliably plays deep into every major. But for the first three, she didn't win them, and she came really close. And she gets to the final in Australia and falls a little short against Maddie. And she wins the first set in Roland Garros and then falls apart a little bit. And Coco steals that title, and there's some fallout afterwards. And at Wimbledon, she gets to the semis and can't close. So she's number one in the world. She's won, already into 8 figures in winnings, and yet she has no majors. That's a different kind of pressure. And she goes to the US Open and essentially salvages her season. And you look back and you say, you know what? When we sum up this career, she's going to have X majors, and it could be double that if she just won a couple points here and there. But her ability to bounce back, her resilience in a much different kind of way than what we often talk about. There's a resilience to losing in the latter rounds of 3 majors and saying, you know what? I'm going to steal this 4th. And she finishes number 1. She never loses her position. She's won, she won north of $15 million, which is a big number, but also tells you that she's winning the right kinds of matches. And yet, in a weird way, this was sort of a bounce back season. And what she did at the U.S. Open to salvage her year is sort of a nice kind of small picture of what she's done her whole career. But I think this is one of the, you talk about Iga, you talk about the Hall of Fame. We took care of that years ago. Mm-hmm. What Sabalenka is putting together here, she's going to go down as one of the all-time greats.
Yeah, and to your point, she went from being this person who you could, and there are players who, what they do well has to be explained to a viewer. It's nuance. It's what Sabalenka does well. Like, she's instantly impressive to the eye test. It's like, oh, that much power, that much speed, that much intensity. It draws you in. You're like, oh shit, like she's about to rip someone's face off, right? But the reason why she's consistent now is because she's gotten a little bit faster. She can take a hand off the racket on the backhand side now. She can hit a drop shot. All of those things aren't going to ever be the things that capture most people's attention, but they don't happen without work and discipline. Because she emotes so much, and because she smiles, because she has a sense of humor, because she makes mistakes, because she throws shit sometimes. Like, we don't give credit to the work it takes to become consistent. It's not an accident. It's not just because she's talented, right? And we have all these other distractions, the power, the off-court stuff, the bad moment with Coco, followed by, her being the first, raising her hand 3 days later and say, like, there's no explanation, that was just a miss. Calling Coco, like, listen, how people making mistakes versus people handling mistakes a certain way. I kind of appreciate the handling of mistakes, and I give that credit too. She certainly made them, but yeah, I mean, we have two, we talk about Alcaraz and Sinner all the time, and I don't know that we're at the point where we can just pencil in Iga or Sabalenka into every final like we can Carlos and Sinner right now. We could pretty much pencil them in for a major a year. Like that was
reliable winners, huh?
Yeah, like way back when that was like the deal. That was the old Pete Sampras special, and he overdid it sometimes. But like, we're dealing with greatness. That's just it. She's phenomenal. She's going to be good next year. She's going to be the favorite in every match she plays. Like that, she's just great.
I mean, I'm looking at her whole year, 2025, and she made at least the quarterfinals of every single tournament except for two. Mm-hmm. And that was like Dubai and like
those are
Qatar,
Middle East,
right? Those were
back-to-back weeks.
Yeah, those were after Australia Open. Those were like
in 10 days.
Yeah. And after that, it was like final, quarterfinal, semifinal, semifinal. You're just like, oh my God.
It's every week.
The consistency is insane.
It'll be fun come May. Like if we need something to watch, because I think Sabalenka is probably going to hold the number one ranking for a little bit further. But then it becomes interesting because Iga didn't put a lot of points on the board in the clay court season. I mean, compared to Iga.
Right.
Compared to most chuckers, she still put, semis of Roland Garros and
compared to shadows.
Compared to shadows, exactly. Semis of Madrid. So like maybe that's where we see a shift. And at least, but wire to wire is a joke. I'm glad JW said it. Like, come in number one, I leave number one, and we're all going, yeah, okay, that's fine. No, that's not fine. That's extraordinary.
Right.
Like that's crazy. And I think the WTA Tour was extraordinary this whole year. 4 different winners. We talked about it in one of the other shows, but like it's hard to have number 1, 2, 3 in the world all win majors, and you could argue that they're almost redemption stories. That's we
were saying all 4 of them, right?
Yeah, and Maddie obviously was definitely one. That one's a little more obvious than the context around the other 3. But like you throw Anisimova into that group, you throw Rybakina into that group. Jess Pegula is capable. Keys. I mean, it's just Andreeva is going to get in there at some point. Just a win all around. I thought the drama was high. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was a great year for women's tennis.
Good quality too.
Totally.
I mean, good eye test. Just good matches, tight matches, well struck balls, athletes. I think I sound like Mercedes here, but WTA is in a very nice place. I think. Who
finishes number 1 next year to JW?
I think I got to go the woman from Belarus. I don't know. What do you think?
I just don't know. I think Swiatek's going to put together a run on clay again. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's a lot of points. I think she's going to get back into that conversation.
I mean, if she makes a run in Australia and then goes back to what she's doing and
back on clay.
Yeah. I don't know. I obviously there's no wrong answer. Like you say Sabalenka's going to be number 1. I'm like, no. Like obviously. I mean, she's probably
crazy.
She's probably the favorite. I do think Iga's going to get back into that conversation. I mean, she's 2 right now, so she's in it, but I think it's a coin flip.
Before
honestly.
we wrap this up, there's one player I wanted to ask you guys about because she kind of had a stunted season due to injury, but Qin Wen. She's currently ranked 24.
So the other thing real quick, like I was just going to say, like we did a top 20, but 20 to 30, how's this for name value? 20 to 30 this year. Leylah Fernandez, Ostapenko, Qin Wen, Paula Badosa, Kostya Yastremska, Kenin, Raducanu, and Vondrousova at 34. You think
dangerous?
I mean, yeah.
Oh man.
I mean that's some
like
some name value.
Tell me if I'm wrong. I think there are more major winners in 20 to 30 than there are in 10 to 20.
Oh, for sure. Like there's no doubt. And then if you get to like finalists and everything else, but Queen Win it's not as if she got hurt and she's not a top 5 or 6 player. So she's going to be in that conversation as well. You hope she comes back healthy from all reports. She will be. But yeah, I mean, I think there's more depth in women's tennis than maybe at any point that I can remember. You know, number 34 in the world, Vondrousova, you could go, she could be in a Grand Slam final again. No problem. Right? Like,
Wimbledon winner, Roland Garros finalist. I mean, let's say this for another time, but there's probably discussion about injuries. You know, Patrick Mahomes goes down with injuries are part of sports, but it's a little disconcerting that so many careers are interrupted. And I don't know if that's something it's physical, shit happens, sports, there's no guarantee of full health, or if we should be talking more about why players are getting hurt. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody at full health, these rankings look a lot different. But yeah, I think there's a real, we have this stalwart, we have this group at the top, and they win majors, and again, Coco at number 3 sells, but there's also real depth here. And there's some really good players who are not going to be seeded in Australia. And there's some really good players who are going to be seeded 17 to 32. And again, I think big picture, women's tennis, you're doing great. Now make a website worthy of the players.
Make a website where we count.
Agreed.
If we count titles, that we count matches in.
Yeah.
Make the story easier to tell and consume for everyone. Huge fan of tennis. I thought it was a great year. I think you guys were great this year.
Yeah.
You were great.
You did a great job.
You guys were fantastic.
You didn't suck either.
That was great. Techie Sean, you got to work on Samsonova rules. We're going to get there.
Yeah.
Just wing it.
I mean, mine was horrible.
Yeah,
I'm not going to leave him out there.
Did you know her favorite dish is chicken piccata? And she won a contest with best. I mean, yeah, she doesn't eat turkey. Only chicken piccata. Anyways, thanks for watching Served. We'll see you next year. AI is only as powerful as the platform it's built on. With the ServiceNow AI platform, your AI, data, and workflows all work together, connecting every corner of your business. To see how you can put AI to work for people, visit servicenow.com/AI-agents.